Hey, what's going on, guys? This is AndrewChicken, and welcome back to another video. I am, of course, a Deadlock addict, and because of that, I've pestered most of my friends to give this game a try. And one thing that I've noticed whenever I play with them as complete new players is that they all struggle at the exact same thing. Match after match with multiple different people, I notice that new players generally tend to struggle a lot when it comes to farming. They'll always fall behind in souls and then have a miserable rest of the match because they can't pick fights with anyone. You see, new players usually fail to understand two important things. First of all, if they're coming from other games and they don't really have much MOBA experience, they don't realize just how important it is to farm souls, because souls directly scale their character's power. Not only does it allow them to buy more items, which is pretty obvious, but it also directly increases the character's health and damage stats. So as a level 0 character here with Infernus, you see that I have 600 health and I'm doing about 6 damage per shot, and if I upgrade my character to max level, well, I've gone and almost doubled my health, and I'm now doing 10 damage per shot. And while that may not seem like a lot at first, when you consider the fact that a lot of these buffs scale by a percentage of your total weapon damage or health, things accelerate really quickly, and so having a lot of souls is a very big deal. But of course, even if a new player knows that, they still generally fail to understand how to efficiently farm the map, and that leads to them falling behind in souls, even if they recognize that, hey, I need to be doing a better job of getting souls. So, in today's video, I want to show you some of the farming techniques that I use in order to keep up with the enemies and my own teammates, and even become the sole leader in the lobby and manage to get an edge over my enemies. So, farming in the different stages of the game looks a little bit different. In the early game, your priority is to farm these little minions right there. Those will give you your main source of souls. And the way this works is if you destroy the minion, or the minion just gets destroyed around you, you get half the souls immediately, and then the other half pop up into this soul orb, as you can see there. And that soul orb can be destroyed by either you or the enemy, and if the enemy steals it, then they will actually take those 38 souls away from you, so you will not secure those souls from the minion. And you also want to look out for when your own minions pop, like this medic minion right here, because then you can shoot the orb that pops out in order to secure that from the enemies, just like that. So, one mistake that a lot of new players make is that they don't pay enough attention to those orbs popping out, and they either let the enemies steal their own souls, or they just fail to steal the souls from the enemy minions that otherwise would be very easy to collect. Another thing to bear in mind is that while killing the enemies in the early game is, of course, important, it's not really your biggest priority. Of course, if you can get a kill, then go for it, but you don't want to be playing so aggressively that you end up getting yourself killed, or you fail to farm effectively, because a kill in the early game is, it's worth a decent amount of souls, but it's only really worth about the same amount of souls as an entire wave of these minions, which is about 4 minions. So, while it is very helpful to kill the enemies because you force them to take a break from playing the game and farming souls, and they will end up falling a little bit far behind, you don't want to be so tunnel-visioned on killing the enemies that you fail to actually secure your own souls from your minions. And when the 2-minute strikes in a match, that's when you'll start to have camps spawning throughout the map, these very small tier 1 creep camps, and these are very nice thing for you to farm if you have the opportunity. Now, of course, if you are able to, it's always a nice thing to steal the camps from the enemy side, if you are able to. If they're, actively fighting you, you don't want to be, trying to take their camp instead of shooting them. But if you have a break in the fight, you've gotten a kill on the enemy, and you're able to push up to their guardian, taking their farm over there is a great way for you to get a lead over the enemies. And also, of course, if you do just happen to have a farm on your side, like I do here on this blue lane, then it's also a very good idea to pop in here when you have a dull moment here, and you can just take these souls for yourself, nice and easy. Another very important source of souls that often goes underrated are these boxes. As you can see, when they're destroyed, they actually drop these nice little vials of souls, 51 souls each, which is pretty good, and that'll scale up over the duration of the match, and usually one box is worth about half a minion, which doesn't seem like a lot, but over time as you destroy these boxes, it will add up into a pretty nice sizable amount of souls. And so as you're wandering the map, destroying camps and things, you should be looking to destroy these boxes wherever possible. And also another thing to remember are these urns. When you destroy them, sometimes they will drop a buff. In this case, I got 20 maximum health. Those are another excellent thing that will help you basically gain a lead over the enemies. Those buffs are permanent over the course of a match, so you want to get as many of those buffs as you can. And yeah, as you're just wandering around, whether it's switching lanes or, destroying camps, you should be destroying those boxes whenever whenever you have a good opportunity. And if you want a really good source of both souls and these golden urn buffs, then you should look at the Sinner's Sacrifice. Now, you can find these on the map. If you see right above my icon on the map here, you can see that little box with a circle inside of it. That shows where a Sinner's Sacrifice box is. And if you punch this, each time it does do a little bit of damage to you, but you get some souls as a result. And then once you get to this final stage, you see those lights tick up and then blink. If you hit it while it's blinking like that, boom, just like that, you will end up getting 3 golden urn buffs. So I got fire rate, bonus health, and weapon damage from that Sinner's Sacrifice, which is really freaking good. So as you're farming up the map, farming up some minions, you should be looking for those and destroying them if you have a good opportunity. Now, one thing to bear in mind, if you're on a lane with a lot of people, like I am here in this bot match, we got pretty much the entire lobby on this lane, you'll notice that when these soul orbs pop, they are giving me barely any souls, which is, yeah, kind of a confusing thing. Like, why the heck? Why am I only getting 11 souls from those? Okay, I got 62 from securing that, but then if I shoot the enemy minions, I get 11 souls. What's up with that? Well, the reason why that is because when you have more than 2 people on a lane, the souls that you get from minions will be divided among every single person. So each person will get fewer and fewer souls based on the amount of people that are actually on the lane. So, if you happen to be in a position of weakness where you're behind on souls, it's often better to actually just go to a lane where there aren't too many people, like this blue lane over here, and you'll be able to get 100% of the souls. You'll be able to get significantly more. Instead of 11, I'm getting 60 from every single one of these minions, which is a massive increase. So, yeah, if you're behind, then you can just go to a lane like that, clear up the souls, and, yeah, try and play a bit safer as well. But if you also notice that there's a team fight going on over there, another great source of souls for your entire team are these Guardians and Walkers. So as you can see, the entire team is engaged in a fight on green. If I'm over here split pushing this Walker and I eventually take this down, I will be able to give myself and my team a nice big boost of souls. Of course, this comes with the risk of the enemies turning back around to focus you, so you always want to be mindful, and if you see some enemies approaching, it can be a very good idea to just preemptively get out. But yeah, if we go ahead and destroy this Walker here, notice how those orbs come out of it. Those will give souls not just to me, but my entire team, so it's important that we shoot those to secure it, especially if there are enemies nearby, because the enemies can also try and shoot those souls to claim them. Conversely, if your team is about to lose a Walker and you're nearby, you can shoot those orbs that come out to try and make sure that the enemies don't get nearly as much of a benefit out of doing so. But yeah, if you notice that your team is behind on Guardians and Walkers, that may be one big reason why you're also behind on souls, and so you should either try and split push a Walker while there is a big fight going on, or you should try and convince your team to coordinate together and take down a Walker so that way you can get a bunch of souls, and also, of course, a nice flex slot. Now let's talk about these jungle camps. So how do you efficiently farm these? Because these are a great source of souls, but you have to understand when it's appropriate to go for them. So jungle camps are, first of all, only efficient if you can actually kill them quick enough. So as you can see here with Haze, I do kill these relatively slowly, and that's because Haze generally isn't a super good camp farmer compared to someone who can just throw down an AoE ability and instantly destroy them. So when it comes to early game farming, you want to make sure that you're going for camps that are suitable. So camps that have a lot of these tier 1 minions are a lot easier to take down. Obviously, they don't give you as many souls as a tier 2 camp, but these tier 1 minions are still very nice and easy to take down. And certainly, don't go for these big tier 3 minions, these ones right here, if you don't have the damage to take them out, because you don't want to spend several minutes shooting one of these guys when you could be farming more efficiently instead by taking these crates, taking these Sinner's Sacrifice boxes, and of course also shooting minions on the lane. And if you happen to be struggling to clearing camps, one of the best items in the game for this is Cold Front, which is an active ability that will release an expanding ice blast that deals spirit damage and slows targets it hits, and this deals double damage to non-heroes, so jungle camps and minions. So if I come over here and use the Cold Frost, you see that it does a lot of area damage to these guys, and depending on how much spirit power you have, this can potentially even one-shot some of the weaker minions, which makes it really, really good for farming. Another great thing for boosting your farming efficiency is actually knowing how to buy items quickly, because, believe it or not, if you spend several seconds going to and from base on one of those ziplines, especially if you don't have a zipline boost, you're wasting precious seconds when you could be farming instead. And so it's important to know where the secret shops are on the map. There are 2 of them on either side. So if you look on the minimap, you see about about where I am here on the minimap, and you'll notice that I'm pointing at that curiosity shop icon right there. And so right here in the middle of the map, between the blue lane and the yellow lane, right next to all these wonderful jungle camps, we have this nice little slide here that'll take us directly into a teleporter room that also has a shop, and here you can quickly buy basically whatever items you need. And there's also a secret entrance to the shop right underneath this bridge. You go in here, and then you go in here, and then boom, there's the shop. So let's say you're just farming up these camps, right, doing big damage, and then, oh, you've got a fat stack of souls to spend. Well, you can just come down here, you can quickly buy whatever items you need, and then you can just go right back up to the surface, and you can continue farming or quickly make your way over to a lane that's under attack. And also a great benefit of being around this area in general, besides all the farm, besides the curiosity shop, is that bridge buffs spawn around here. So you can also come up here and take one of these bridge buffs, get a temporary bonus that will help you be even more efficient at farming, or actually just go start killing enemies like this random McGinnis who showed up here. Hello, what are you doing? Deadlock bots are a special breed, aren't they? Another great benefit of knowing where the curiosity shop is, and also in general knowing where the underground is that if you go down here, there are actually a ton of boxes for you to farm. Look at this. There's just boxes there with urns and stuff. There's boxes over here. There's boxes and little statues over here, and we can just get a ton of buffs from all that. And yeah, just doing a quick run through the underground honestly can sometimes be a nice little way to get some small benefits, and especially if you're just trying to quickly go from one side of the map to the other and you want to make sure that your farm is efficient while you're doing that, you can just pop in the underground there, get those boxes along the way while you're traveling to wherever destination you're going. But yeah, look at how many souls you can get just from a single wave of minions here. 70, 70, 70, 70. I get 140 from every single minion there. You do not want to underestimate these creeps, especially later into the game, because the value of these minions will scale based on the time of the game. So the longer the game goes on, the more souls you get. Another thing to bear in mind if you are behind by a lot of souls as a team, as we are right now in this bot match, we're about 30k behind, is that the soul urn is a fantastic source of souls. So this will give souls to everybody on the team, and if you're behind by this much, you'll actually be able to have a favorable spawn location. So if you look on my screen, you'll notice that the drop-off location of the urn is on our side of the map. It's very close to our yellow walker, and that is because we are behind. So if we grab this soul, we'll have a much easier time delivering the soul urn and getting a nice big lump sum of souls. You see, I just went up there by 2k souls easily. So this is a great way to get souls if you are behind. Of course, it can be difficult because the enemies are going to try and focus you. Hello, random 7 player. Oh my gosh. Get solo ulted. I don't have leech. I'm going to die. Wait, no, wait. Ah, okay. But yeah. Definitely consider doing a soul urn if your team is generally behind on souls, because you are able to recover quite a lot by even just turning in one of those. And yeah, in general, my tip is to always be doing something, because if you're just wandering around the map like this, not doing anything, not even breaking these boxes, then you're not farming souls, when your enemies all are going to be farming souls, because they will be spending their time efficiently, well, killing minions, breaking jungle camps, breaking these boxes, and getting more souls than you. So even if you just need to reposition around the map, you can shoot these crates, see if there's anything inside. If there is, go over there, grab those souls real quick. You want to be shooting these minions as they come down the lane, because those will give you souls. You don't want to be caught idle, just doing nothing, because that is the easiest way to fall behind. Of course, if you're new, you do need to learn the map, and so that is going to involve some wandering, but there are plenty of things to do all over the map, whether it's farming these camps or breaking some boxes. You want to make sure that you're doing something. That's probably the biggest tip of all, is to just make sure that you're doing something. So to summarize, make sure that you're not ignoring these little minions, and make sure that you're shooting the orb that comes out of the minions, and make sure that when the enemies destroy one of your minions, that you also try and make a play to shoot the orb that comes out of them, because all of those will give you a ton of souls. Don't underestimate these boxes, because rolling through those will give you a bunch of helpful souls that accrue over the match, and make sure that you're farming these jungle camps when you can, but make sure that you're doing it when you have the damage to do so quickly. You don't want to spend too much time on these things, you kind of just want to gun them down and then move on to the next thing. Always make sure that you're doing something, whether it's breaking those boxes, shooting down minions and making sure you're collecting their souls, or of course farming up a camp. Even if you're just walking around like this, trying to reposition, maybe go push up this walker, you can be breaking these boxes in order to get some souls. Do not sleep on the Sinner's Sacrifice boxes. These are a very nice source of souls, but more importantly, they also give you a metric crap ton of buffs that will stick with you permanently throughout the rest of the match. And even though those aren't necessarily souls, they're still definitely worth it to pick up because they make your character stronger in a very tangible way. If your team is behind on objectives, make sure that you are destroying the Guardians, because these will give you a nice bit of souls for everybody on your team, and the walkers as well, especially. And, of course, if there are any enemies nearby, make sure that you're actually shooting the orbs that come out of the Guardians, because if you don't, the enemies will have the opportunity to steal them and take your hard-earned souls. And also, of course, conversely, if the enemies are destroying one of your walkers, then make sure that you are shooting the souls that come out so you deny the enemies of their hard work. If your team is far behind on souls, then of course make sure to turn in the soul urn. If there's a large enough deficit, then this soul urn drop-off location will actually spawn closer to your base, making it easier to drop off for you, which is a very nice comeback mechanic that can help you if you're falling behind. And of course, you should learn where the secret shop is, which is located right here in the middle of the lanes, right next to most of the farm on the map. So, once you're done farming up these souls, it's much faster usually to just pop on over here to the secret shop and buy your items here, rather than spending time going all the way back to base. And that'll translate into you getting back to farming faster, fighting enemies faster, repositioning to guardians and walkers that you need to destroy faster, and generally just being more efficient with how you play the game. And that efficiency will translate into you keeping up with the enemies and even surpassing them in terms of souls. And in general, always make sure you're doing something. If you're not actively fighting the enemies, then you should be thinking about efficiently clearing camps if you have the damage to do so, breaking these boxes, shooting down minions, doing all of that wonderful stuff. But anyways, those are the tips that I use to make sure that I'm farming effectively in my Deadlock matches. Make sure that I'm keeping pace with the enemies, and hopefully even surpassing them when it comes to souls. So if you found this video to be helpful, of course make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any more Deadlock content from me. And if you have any other helpful farming tips, then make sure to leave them in the comments section down below. I'd love to hear any other tips you have. But with all that being said, thank you guys for watching. I will see you all next time. Peace out.